Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome to our coffee times today with cold coffee edition because it is hot summer here in Europe and I just needed a refreshment. So today I thought I would bring you a short video with some book recommendations.
It's coffee time!
So not long ago, actually, I made a video of horror middle grade, like spooky middle grade books that I would recommend you to check out. And I've been meaning to make the next video in this series, which is basically recommending you some YA horror books. So that's what we're here for today. Before we get into the recommendations, and if you love horror and books, please consider subscribing to the channel to join the coffee family and also click on the notification bell. First, I would like to mention Shutter by Courtney Alameda, and this is a supernatural YA story about a girl who is kind of like the last descendant in the Van Helsing lineage, and she has this specific power. She's able to see the auras of dead people, but she can only see them and capture them through a lens, so she uses a camera. And this really reminded me of a horror game that I've always loved, which is Project Zero. I think it was called Fatal Frame in other countries, so I'm not sure, but here in Europe or where I live, it's called Project Zero, and I've always loved it. I played it for the first time in PlayStation 2, and it's kind of like the same concept. You have a camera and you go around, and when you see a ghost, you shoot it with your camera, and that's how you kind of capture the ghost. So this was by no means the perfect book, but it was for me really entertaining. There were some things in the book that I just wish they would have taken a little bit more time to explain them in a little bit more depth, like how does the whole process with the camera work and with like the tools that they use, how these teenagers are being trained to capture these ghosts, things like that. But I do think that it's a very interesting quick YA read, so in case that you are interested in what I just told you about, if you've played the game Project Zero, you probably really want to check this book out now. So yeah, I really did enjoy this one. Then we have 10 by Gretchen McNeil, and this is a YA mystery thriller, and this is kind of like a remake, like a reboot of And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. So it is a bunch of teenagers that are invited to this party in an island, and basically they start dying one by one. So who's killing them, why they were invited, mystery kind of stuff. So if you like mystery thriller, you know, I think this is a really good one to start with. I'm a huge fan of Agatha Christie, and I think this was a good take to make it, you know, kind of available for a younger readers. So if you love mystery thrillers but you don't want to go to the adult ones, maybe this is one that you would like to check out. Next we have the Asylum trilogy by Madeleine Rouge, and this is another kind of supernatural story. I have only read the first book in the trilogy, so I do own book 2 and I would like to check it out. One of the best things about this book is that it has like pictures from the asylum from the inside in between the pages, so it makes it like extra atmospheric. And we're following Dan. He is really excited because he has been admitted to this kind of summer college classes, and he goes there, and all these students sadly need to be relocated, and they are relocated into the asylum that had to close in 1972. So it is this very creepy building, and Dan starts making friends, but he also starts investigating and finding out things that he's not supposed to find, and uncovering secrets he's not supposed to uncover. So in the end, we follow our main characters, our friends that have just connected and are thrown into this investigation of what happened in that asylum in the past. Why was it closed? They start to uncover all of these dark secrets. And what I really appreciated about this book is that even though it was YA, like the building and the pictures and everything was like really like dark and disturbing. And so if you're looking for a nice YA trilogy, fast pace, and if you love creepy pictures inside of books as much as I do, you might want to check this one. Next we have The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson, and I think this one is also a trilogy or 4 books, I'm not sure now, but this one I really enjoyed. I also only read the first one so far, but it is a paranormal YA book in which we have Rory. She's from Louisiana and she is sent to London, and the moment that she gets there, there is this copycat from Jack the Ripper that starts committing the crimes the same way as Jack the Ripper would. And on top of that, she saw the guy, you know, the murderer, and she soon realizes she's actually the only one that can see him. And so of course now this murderer is going after her because she can see him. And I thought this was a really cool story. You know, guys, I love anything that has to do with serial killers and Jack the Ripper, all of that stuff. So this was definitely one totally down my alley. So if you also like this kind of true crime stories being adapted into books, you might want to check this one out. Next we have The Monstrumologist by Rick Lancey, and this is kind of like a fantasy combined with horror just because it is all about the study of monsters. And this is such a interesting read because you touch different types of creatures. It feels really like dark Victorian Gothic-esque, and I think that if you love monsters, you will definitely fall in love with this series. The book is basically the diary of Will Henry, and he's someone that has seen nearly anything at this point, but then one night there is a great robber that comes into his life, and then he makes one of the most gruesome discoveries ever, and that's where we take off. And yeah, like I said, if you love monsters and diary type style, this is 100% for you. So the next book that I would like to recommend you is actually a mix of genres. It's kind of like a mystery combined with fantasy and with a little bit of horror, and that is So Kill Girls by Claire Legrand. This is one of the books that I really enjoyed a lot this year. I believe I gave it 5 coffee mugs, and it is about this island where girls have been disappearing through the years and their bodies are never found, so they don't know what happened to them. And we are following the story through the perspective of 3 different girls that are very different, but 3 of them live in this island, so they're telling you their story from their perspective, and you get to understand how deep, you know, this goes into the history of the island and the people that used to be there. But it includes feminism and cults and religion, and it's very empowering for women as well. So I really did enjoy this story a lot, and you do get your fair amount of horror in this one. So this is another great YA for you to check out. And to wrap this up, I would like to mention a collection of short stories, and that is Slasher Girls and Monster Boys. Now this does come with a lot of trigger warnings, and you have stories that are being adapted from like classic tales, but also from the horror genre in general. These are not the most creepy horror stories I have read. Some of them don't read much like horror, I have to be honest, but it is a great collection of short stories to start with if you would like to introduce yourself into the genre and you have not read anything yet, for example. But be aware that there's a lot of trigger warnings, so make sure to check those ones out before you go into it. Alright, you guys, so I hope that you enjoyed these YA horror books recommendations. Let me know down below what is the best horror YA book that you have read. Let's talk about it in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Please give the video a big thumbs up to support the channel. If you want to follow me on the social media, as always, the links are down below. And I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!